Edie Lush, and I'm here in Davos at the Hub Culture Pavilion at the World Economic Forum. I'm joined now by Nick Goldman. He's a scientist at the European Bioinformatics Institute. So, you're taking DNA and using it as a computer, is that right?
We're using it as a possible replacement for the hard drive of the computer. So not doing calculations with DNA, but we're storing information using DNA.
How does that work?
Well, DNA is a digital information storage medium. Our bodies use that as the blueprint, the program to make our bodies and to pass on to our descendants. And it does that by storing information using a sequence chain molecule, and the different components of that are read back and store a message. And we realized a couple of years ago that we could invent a code of our own that would take any information that you might store on your computer or your phone or your MP3 player and use an alternative code to represent that information in the language of DNA, and then synthesize that DNA as a storage medium for information, and then standard genomic research techniques can write and can read DNA back, so we can recover the message at some point in the future.
So you've done a Bitcoin challenge about sequencing DNA and decoding a message. Tell me about this. That's right.
So I thought I got this invitation to come and explain my science in Davos, and I thought I wanted a way to engage with economists and people and explain to them how this could be of some relevance to them. One of the stories we use is just long-term archival of valuable information, but it occurred to me for economists that nowadays even money is a digital commodity, and so we could represent money in our DNA storage system by buying a Bitcoin on the open market, encoding the information that defines that Bitcoin, writing that into the DNA, and then making samples of that DNA available. I've been giving them out on the card, as you just showed, to people that came to my talk or asked me about it. And whoever takes that DNA, reads it if they have access to a molecular biology laboratory or a friend who does, goes through the decoding procedure that we describe on our website, and the first person that does that can get in there and can go on the web and claim the Bitcoin, and that's their prize, apart from the eternal glory, of course.
So I'm interested in how far away this is in terms of actual real science that we could all use, and I'm also interested in how it might replace these giant data centers that actually are now storing a lot of this information.
So we've done a proof of principle experiment. We can do examples like the one I've brought here and other projects I've involved with. At the moment, it's slow and it's very expensive. I think we've had interest from a couple of people. I think within a year or two, you could see projects that were a useful amount of information, not just a joke or a competition, but something that would be a genuine example of storing information that you'd want. We might imagine that the humanity wants to keep safe for a long time. Maybe by 10 years' time, this will be a product which could be used more frequently. We've had interest, for example, from the movie industry, where they do everything digitally now, except their archives. And their archives go back to celluloid because it's a medium they know they can trust. So I think maybe 10 years is when you might really potentially see this being used, and then very soon after that we'd reach some tipping point, and then I think it could be something that you and I would use initially for high value information. So how much would you spend to have the first photograph of your child or your wedding photograph stored in a form that could be safe for thousands of years? I think people would do that.
Nick, thank you so much for stopping by the Hub Culture Pavilion
Thanks very
here
much.
in Davos, and I'm Edie Lush.